Coming up on the Booth Review, London, the defense dominated the Giants.
And Debo was phenomenal in his debut as the Washington Commanders.
Bill Crossy-Merritt had a historic day, Bram.
And what do we have here?
What is that?
We'll find out on the Booth Review. Welcome into the first victory edition of the Booth Review podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein with Big Fletch. London Fletcher. We're brought to you by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, and we are in the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. A week one win and a dominant one, London, on defense.
Absolutely. And, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot it just a little bit. On a couple of the shows we did, Command Center, Players Club, I mentioned I thought that our defense would take top billing in this game. And it wasn't about the offense, you know, kind of starting off slower or whatever the case may be, because I thought they had a great game from running when it comes to rushing the football. But I just felt like our defense was being overlooked coming into this game. We have been talking so much about our offense and the additions and Jaden in his second year and all that. And we talked a lot about the Giants and their front four, their pass rush, and all the things that they brought. And then you have Russell Wilson making his debut with the New York Giants. But not enough attention, in my opinion, was being paid to our defense. And I particularly felt like our defensive line was going to really set the tone. We was going to dominate in the trenches. And lo and behold, yesterday, that's what happened.
I mean, believe it or not, the Giants had the ball longer than the Commanders did. Not by much. It was pretty much an even split, but about a minute. Neither team turned the ball over in the game. That's probably one thing defensively. If they're going to find something that they want to talk about, it's going to be that. Maybe a couple of penalties. But when you give up 6 points, you keep them out of the end zone. You have 2 red zone stands, as they did, one in the first half, one that really sealed it, that it ensured that they were going to win in the second half. There really isn't much to complain about. And kind of to your point, I think the depth and size of the defensive line was very much on display.
The physicality, it started in the trenches. Javon Kinlaw, first running play by the Giants, in the backfield, negative yardage play. He made his presence felt right away. Deron Payne was an animal. Dietrich Wise. I mean, there was so many, Dorrance Armstrong. There's so many guys that had made a huge impact in that ball game. On the back end, the coverage was outstanding. A lot of times, Russ had nowhere to go with the football. He had to hold on to the ball. We were able to get hits on him, got him down for a couple sacks, really confused him with the coverages. We showed some variations, show him, hey, one look like a man-to-man defense. Then we morph into a zone coverage. And the way we were getting into our different types of zones, that really had him confused quite a bit. And that led to the Giants passing offense really being anemic in that whole ball game.
This is one of the big differences I think they hoped they were going to have from 2024 to 2025. The metrics across the board in the fourth quarter for the Washington defense were not particularly good down the stretch. Finishing games, they talked a lot about this. They hadn't been getting the amount of turnovers they were looking for. They weren't getting the amount of pressures. And so they changed their front. They wanted to play the style that they were more accustomed to. And you could see the depth, and we felt it. And through the summer, they were really the story here locally. Maybe not nationally, because Jaden Daniels is going to take a lot of attention, the record that they had, the expectations, the schedule. But people see names like Javon Kinlaw, Dietrich Wise. It doesn't move the needle nationally, but we were watching this through the summer and going, I think you're going to see a very different stylistically defense that is way more reminiscent of what Dan Quinn and Joe Witt were doing in Dallas before they came here. And in week one, I don't want to hear it about Russell Wilson. This guy's a borderline Hall of Famer, maybe a Hall of Famer. They completely shut him down. He completed less than 50% of his throws. He was running for his life. The defensive line dominated this game.
They did. And it wasn't just the sacks, because we got to him twice, but it was the pressure, the hits, the making him feel uncomfortable. I thought they had a great rushing plan in terms of how they were going to rush in the passing lane. No pun intended in the passing game. And what I mean by that, a lot of times you'll see, especially the defensive ends, they were extremely disciplined. A lot of times you'll see these defensive ends just run up the field. They're getting 2 yards past the quarterback. And these offensive tackles, a lot of times they'll just run him past the quarterback, and then quarterback's able to step up in the pocket or step up and kind of escape the pocket through that lane that was created by the defensive end being too far up the field and the defensive tackle not getting enough push. The game plan, those defensive ends, they would get to about maybe 5 yards up the field, and then they would start to take a beeline toward the quarterback, just start the bull rush. And we're not necessarily going to get the sacks, but we're going to have a pocket and really keep him in a phone booth. You got good pressure from the interiors, and there was nowhere for Russ really to go with the football. And a lot of times you see him just being uncomfortable. He's a smaller quarterback, not really being able to see over the line of scrimmage. And that's why you were seeing some of those errant balls, especially in the red zone. And that's where you really have to be disciplined in your pass rush. And they executed that game plan, that pass rush game plan to perfection.
A number of these players that really had an impact are newcomers to the team. I want to bring up a few of them and just see what you think. Dietrich Wise really stood out to me.
He did.
Across the board, he was making plays on both sides of the line.
Yep.
He was running off the line, making plays in the screen game.
Yep.
He was really disruptive. He had one unfortunate penalty down on the goal line, but outside of that, his presence was really felt specifically on the edge.
No, you mentioned that, yeah, because you highlighted him talking about the making plays on the screen game. Coming out of the stack, anytime you have screens, whether it's a screen to the running back or a screen to the wide receiver, those jet screens or whatever you want to call it, rocket screens, and him just hauling tail, pursuing, making tackles, the bootleg play. When they tried to boot, he gets immediate pressure in Russell Wilson's face. And that led to another inaccurate throw. Very disciplined. There was him being stout at the point of attack. He had a phenomenal game. And you're gonna look at it, you see, okay, 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit. But he had way more impact than the stat sheet says.
Yeah, I think he is an example of, it's not just the formidable size that they brought in, it's the experience. Mm-hmm. They have a tremendous amount of depth experience now across the line. And this was their first real go together. Because remember, just like the offense, they barely played in the preseason. Like a few snaps here and there. We didn't really know what we were going to get. But when we were watching the joint practice with New England or really practices against their own offense, and that's a whole different story, which we'll get to with Logan in a little bit, where the offense was never really together on the field at the same time. So I wasn't totally surprised that it wasn't shot out of the cannon.
It's hard to gauge. Well, not the offense. It's hard to gauge our D-line when you're going against the offensive line that hasn't been.
Keep moving parts, constant moving parts. But they were at times in camp dominating. But until we see it, you don't know. And we saw it manifest this way. And I think Wise is kind of the biggest example of the level of experience that they brought in at the position that gives them the opportunity to have this kind of impact.
He really does. And as I was watching the game and the experience, but also one thing about when you get a player like Wise, he spent his entire career in New England. And the thing about New England, they're so detail oriented in everything. Like they harp on so many of the little details, the minute details where other coaches will let stuff go by the wayside, not address. You can tell the discipline that, like I said, there was times where, and I'm sure our defensive coaches emphasize those details as well, because Joe Witt talks about them, like the coming down the line of scrimmage and running flat on those screen plays, or not getting too far up the field, or not, chasing on that bootleg, not flying down the line of scrimmage, think you're going to make a tackle for a loss on a running back. No, doing your job, being patient, and then redirecting and making Russ have to throw that football before he's ready to throw it. So it's stuff like that, the small, minute details that really showed dividends, that really showed in that ball game yesterday.
So the other one that really stands out of the newcomers is Javon Kinlaw.
Yes.
So Kinlaw, throughout the summer, when they signed him, the promise was, you haven't seen the best of him yet. That there were injuries early in his career Then he had 1 year with the Jets. That was a rough year up there. He comes here. This front office knows him. They had drafted him. Clearly, like, he makes Deron Payne look small. So it's it's cartoonish when he's out on the field. And then he had a couple plays early that we saw during the joint practice and saw some during some of our practices. And they've talked about all summer, where he blows things up in a way that very few people are capable of doing. And we saw that again, that in the center of the Giants line, here comes Kinlaw, and the play's over before it started.
We call that, he's heavy-handed.
Yeah.
And when people don't think, being heavy-handed is a great thing when you play football, especially in the trenches. His hands, he shocks offensive linemen when he hits them. Like, it's like they've been hit by a ton of bricks. There's just the pop, the power that he plays with, and his ability. He has quickness too. Like, he's 6'5" and what? I don't know, 310, 315, whatever he's listed at.
He looks enormous.
I mean, yeah. I was walking back to the booth after Santana's halftime presentation, being inducted in the Ring of Fame, and I see him. I'm like, my goodness, this dude is massive, man. He had a tremendous. You felt his impact in the ball game. He had a hit on Russell that and he didn't get a hit. He didn't get a sack, but they ran a TE game where he hits the offensive tackle's shoulder inside, and then the defensive end loops inside of him, and he ricocheted off the tackle and hits Russ. I mean, he rocked it.
Yes.
Trust me, Russ felt that the rest of the game.
Yeah. He reminds me, it's a different position because he doesn't play defensive end, but the strength that he plays with, it reminds me of Dexter Manley, where Dexter used to be able to kind of overwhelm people.
Have you ever shook Dexter's hand?
You don't do that because he will break your hand. So I've learned this through the years. Like, and he's not trying to do it.
No, he is.
You feel,
Bram, he is.
You feel the bones in your hand move in a way that they shouldn't when you just shake his hand.
Dexter's doing that on purpose. So
why would he do that to me? He doesn't need to.
He thinks it's funny. So you've shaken Dexter's hand more than once?
Yeah, you learn. The first time you don't think anything of it. The second you're just like, well, that was interesting. And then the second time you're like, I'm never doing that again.
Listen, first time I met Dexter Manley, I had just came to DC my first year playing for the team. And we had the welcome home luncheon. Remember, we used to have the welcome home luncheon. Yeah. So we're there, and Dexter's there. And hey, man, this Dexter Manley, like, I had a ton of respect for him when he played. So I'm going to go, introduce myself to him. So, hey, Dexter, London Fletcher. And nobody told me not to shake Dexter's hand. I shake his hand. And he's squeezing my hand, and he's looking at me. And he's waiting to see my reaction. And we're in training camp, really. We're just breaking camp. And my hands are sore. My knuckles are sore just from training camp. And I'm looking at him. I was like, man, if you don't let my hand go, I'm about to swing on you. This is not going to get off to a good start. And I was like, man, this ain't funny. And he started laughing. So I've never shook Dexter's hand again. After that, it was a fist pound.
I'd like to ask Javon, because they're very different personalities. Dexter played really angry. He'll tell you that like the light switch went on and he was going to go hurt somebody and shake their hand or not shake their hand. Like, he's going to go hurt somebody. He played with this ferocity. But what Kinlaw reminds me of him is the way he overwhelms people, like where it's just like you can't stop him. I don't know that Kinlaw does that. Kinlaw's putting on Prada glasses and cutting up his jersey and smiling and walking around. But something clearly turns on him, like when the games come around, because we saw this during the summer and then we saw it yesterday a few times. You were like, whoa, you rarely see somebody overwhelm people the way that he does it.
Yeah, no, you mentioned the Prada sunglasses or whoever they are, and just the swag and all that. And maybe once he puts on a helmet, there's another personality that comes out.
I have a feeling you had that.
I did.
You must have.
I did.
You're one of the nicest people I've ever met. We went out. My wife met us out last night, and when she got home, she's like, London is such a warm person. I really like spending time with him. And then I'm like, he made 8 million tackles. So there's another London somewhere in there.
See, Bram, I turned it to Big Fletcher on the football field. I'm London off the field. big Fletcher when I come between the lines, and also when we do the booth review.
All right, let me ask you about another newcomer, Von Miller. He was out there early, actually. Didn't play a snap in the preseason, so we had no idea. How are they going to use him? What's the volume of plays? In what situations? They weren't in what I would have considered a tight game yesterday, so we didn't see him in that situation yet. And I don't remember calling his name much. So what did you see from Von Miller?
Yeah, so I was able to. I was watching Von, and I was able to look at the All-22, a lot of the snaps that he was in. There was a couple times he had some really good rushes, and the ball came out quickly. This game plan from a pass rushing standpoint was going to be, it was so detailed in terms of you didn't want to get up past Russell. So some of the get up the field and dip and all that, and that Von is extremely good at. You can tell they didn't want that type of pass rush game plan because of Russ and not creating those lanes. But I felt like there was times where he was able to collapse the pocket, push the pocket, and also there was another time he beat the tackle inside. I feel really good about Von, where he's at, and also you can tell the influence that he has in the room just with some of those other guys. I mean, I thought Jacob Martin was outstanding too.
Yes. He had a great camp, underrated camp. Again, not unlike Dietrich Wise, very underrated signing. And when people have talked about coming into the season, where are the sacks going to come from? And people point to Von because of how many he's had in his career. But you go, I think he's a part-time player. He hasn't had those kind of numbers. Like, I think we should slow our roll on what the expectation is on what kind of numbers he's going to put up. But it's people like him and Wise where I go, this is where collectively all the sacks are going to come from. Martin had an outstanding camp for them. Yeah.
Man, camp, but yesterday in that ball game, there was some times we're talking about the passing game for the Giants. Part of the reason the Giants passing game was so putrid was because they couldn't run the ball. And I think they felt like they were going to have more success running the football, but there were times where they tried to get outside and Martin set such a hard edge. I mean, it was a wall that he just created these piles, and there was nowhere for the running back to go. There was no movement being made by the offensive lineman or whoever was trying to block Martin. That really led to a lot of their inefficiencies in the passing game, because now you don't have a true play action passing game, because I'm not respecting your play action pass if you can't run the ball. And Russ, one of his big elements of his game is the ability to play action pass and take shots downfield and things like that. But if you ain't running the ball effectively, there is no
That's his strength.
Pass.
That's his strength.
Yep.
His strength, it's almost old school, very 80s. Like, if you run the ball well, he's terrific at play action. If he has time, he's extremely accurate on deep passes, specifically down the sideline. None of that happened yesterday. And I agree with you. It started with they literally couldn't run on them.
Yeah, they didn't. And I thought the D-line, they really set the tone. Bobby Wagner was outstanding, getting into the backfield. The linebackers also did a tremendous job getting double teams off of the defensive tackles. And last year, and Joe Witt talked about being able to play more of his style of play. And that's where I saw that play huge dividends. Yesterday, so just compare and contrast, last year there was a lot of two-gapping being done by the linebackers because, you're not able, you're trying to protect the back end. So you maybe play a little bit more two-shell defense. You're playing lighter boxes, 6-man fronts or 7-man fronts, when you should have been playing 7-man fronts or 8-man fronts, so to speak. And you're not able to play one man, one gap, get downhill. Yesterday, they feel great about their secondary, so that allows them to have a true extra man fitting in the run game with the safety or nickel back or whoever the case may be. And the linebackers can get those double teams off of the defensive lineman a lot faster, as opposed to letting those double teams stay and the tackles getting moved a couple yards down the field. The linebackers coming downhill, getting the double teams off of those defensive tackles, and in turn, the defensive tackles staying square on those blocks. And you saw Payne making tackles. You saw Kinlaw making tackles at the line of scrimmage. You saw Goldman making tackles right around the line of scrimmage, is because of a lot of that stuff.
On New York running the ball, 74 yards, 3.2 carry average. That's amazing. The leading rusher is the quarterback. 90% of it is not scripted plays. It's him running for his life scrambling. Tyrone Tracy, who last year had a very good game in the second meeting, and actually the Giants against Washington last year averaged 5.5 per carry. A lot of teams had a lot of success. One of the big priorities of the offseason, fix the run defense. Tyrone Tracy, 10 for 24. 10 for 24. Yeah. Like you can't do better than that.
No, you couldn't, and you can. And it's, again, just, it starts up front. It starts up front. And I mentioned, everybody who played in that game was just on it. They were exactly where they needed to be,
and they played with the energy.
Played with the
energy.
Quinn
and Witt talk about over and over and over. This is how we get down. That's how he says. That's the way he brings it. Yeah,
I thought the secondary guys who came in and when they had to fit into the runs, I thought they did an excellent job. I saw some big hits by Will Harris, by Quan Martin. Those guys were exact like you want your safeties to play in the run game.
Another person, not a newcomer here, but I think needs to be pointed out. Dorrance Armstrong had an outstanding camp. They were moving him around. There were a couple points in the game where we had 4 defensive linemen standing up. So this is starting to have that look of what I remember from Dallas a few years ago when they were a turnover machine against everybody and had a top 5 defense. Armstrong was amazing yesterday. 9 quarterback pressures. 9. Wow. 9 from different positions across the line. Again, another sign of they completely overwhelmed whatever the Giants' game plan was and overwhelmed the personnel as well.
Yeah, I think DQ and Joe Witt, they know Armstrong. He was with them in Dallas. His versatility to be able to rush outside, be able to bring him inside on obvious passing situations, passing downs. Get him matched up on guards or centers and interior linemen. And I think even now, there's going to be, you mentioned the 4 defensive linemen standing up. I'm sure at some point, now they were standing up and maybe Armstrong may have moved a little bit. I think at some point they're going to have where you had those defensive linemen all stand up and you will see guys just moving around along the front and you don't know who's going to who's coming, who's dropping back and covering. And it might be 6 guys moving up in the line of scrimmage and around the line of scrimmage, a couple safeties, corner, nickels, whoever. And now it forces you to make sure your communications is on key from a protection standpoint. Like, who are the 4 guys coming in? And you just want them to be wrong on the count, leads to free rushers, immediate pressure on the quarterback, or sacks. So I think there's going to be so much more that the defensive that they'll add to that rush kind of look.
This is going to be interesting the next few weeks and the things that we'll talk about. But like Jordan Love is mobile, but not like Russ. Actually, he's not going to run a lot. Then they're going to take on Geno Smith. He's not really mobile. He's really more of a very good pocket quarterback, but he's really more of a pocket quarterback. Right. They're going to get Penix, who we're not sure if he's going to run very much yet, but he's really a pocket quarterback. Herbert, can run, but doesn't do a lot of it. They're not going to see a lot of really what are known for mobile quarterbacks over the next month. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of materializes, dealing with people that mainly where they're going to be.
Yeah, that's and with that. The game planning on the rush, like what's the best way to get to their quarterback? Do we get into some wide nines way out front and, get up the field and able to, if you feel like you got great matchups against their tackles, can we beat those guys with speed around the edges? Is this a situation where you're running these games, these twist stunts between the D linemen? Is that more effective? Do we take advantage of their interior linemen? Hey, maybe you like some matchups of getting some guys with speed on a guard or a center or things like that. So it's so many different variations you have. I think the great thing about this group collectively is that you have so much versatility with these guys.
Depth. They talked about it. Depth and versatility.
Yeah.
Let me give you Russ's passing stats. 17 of 37 for under 190 yards, 45% completion percentage. In the NFL, if you're under 60, that's a bad day these days. The really good quarterbacks are up near 70 typically for the season. Jaden was a guy who had, I mean, granted, that was like one of the best seasons any rookie's ever had because he broke a qualified completion percentage record, but it was up near 70. Mm-hmm. Most of the good quarterbacks are well over 60 and close to 70, 45% completion percentage. That is extraordinarily low. Malik Neighbors targeted, I don't even remember it this many times because I think a number of them were throwaways and he was the closest receiver in the vicinity of it. He got targeted 12 times. He only made 5 catches and he only made one play that I would even call an impact play throughout the entire day. They neutralized their passing game too with one of the best receivers in the NFL, period.
The credit to the game plan. And I mean, it's a lot of it. They played a ton of man-to-man, but they also were able to mix and play their zones. And I mean, you mentioned 17, 13. It felt like it was worse than that.
Yeah.
Because
one of them was one where
a lot of those incompletions, as you mentioned, nobody had a chance to catch the balls.
Right. It wasn't drops.
No, it wasn't like 50-50 balls. You're making a nice defensive play or he's fitting into a tight window and things like that. But it felt like it was worse than that.
I mean, there was one where he got like 20 of the yards when he got hit just throwing it up in the air and Neighbors made a play for him.
Right.
Like he would have had 150 yards passing without that.
The throws in the red zone, I mean, a lot of them had no chances of being completions.
No. We should bring that up. 2 red zone stops, one in the first half, one that sealed it in the second half. The first one included a penalty that gave him a 1st and goal at the 1 and still held them to 2 field goals. That's another one. I'm sure Quinn's going to be and Witt are going to be showing to everybody going, this is us, right? What an incredible start there. This is us.
They extreme discipline. They tried a play action pass. They brought a tackle in, made him eligible, thinking that we'd fall asleep from a coverage standpoint. Hey, how many times do you throw the football to a extra offensive lineman, tackle eligible, whatever the case may be? Will Harris, extremely disciplined. Hey, he's an offensive lineman, but he's eligible as a receiver. This is my guy in coverage. If they were going to pass this football, my eyes on him. We call it eyes on your work. Tremendous discipline. They go play action pass, try to get the ball to the tight end. Will is all over him. Didn't panic, didn't commit a pass interference penalty. He was where he needed to be. I don't know if it was Wise, might have been Wise or Armstrong. Somebody was right in Russ's face like they needed to be. Perfect. There was a time where we had another man-to-man coverage, and I think Bobby does a great job of fighting through the traffic, covering the running back out of the backfield. I mean, everybody's gloved up, nowhere to go with the football. Has to throw it basically out of the back of the end zone. And I mean, they a couple of times they changed it to what's called zone coverage. I think the Giants were expecting man. We played zone coverage. Tremendous detail, attention to details. Nowhere to go with the football.
So I don't know you care about the historic numbers. I like them.
You love them.
I like them.
That's your deal. You love the historic numbers.
I like them. But there's one, but when they matter and when they stand out to me, I like to bring them up. And last year, it became, because of what Jaden was doing early in the season, it was laughable. Like how many times, like after the game, I would get these stats and it would be like, not since 1945, not since 1968, not since this, not since then. And it was a lot had to do with him and what he was doing. Here's one for you I think you'll like. And this is a streak. I write it on my board every week, every game I call to remind myself, hopefully this will change. This team has not shut somebody out since 1991. It is the longest streak running in the NFL by far and not close. And so after seeing them in week 1 hold a team to 6 points, and I know the level of quarterbacks they're playing, especially this year and really over the next month, that it's hard to do.
Yes.
But I'm hoping, and I just want to put a bug in their ear. It has not happened here since 1991. And the reason why I bring that up is yesterday, they did something on defense they have not done since 1991, which was hold their season opening opponent without a touchdown. That has not happened since 1991. They hadn't had a game where they hadn't allowed a touchdown in been a long time
Since,
anyway. Right. It was like 2000, something like that.
2000.
This was in the
2000.
season opener.
Yeah.
They have not held the opponent without a touchdown since the 1991 season, where they had 3 shutouts. And so I'm just trying to put that in the air now.
Put it into
right.
the atmosphere.
It's in the universe.
Yes.
I want to put it in the universe. That if you do that, you will end one of the longest streaks running in the NFL. This is like 200 more games than anybody else that is since they last had a shutout.
Speaking into his existence.
Exactly.
Yeah, manifested.
That's right.
The manifest. And listen, it's extremely difficult to shut a team out.
It's one mistake.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
again, you can have things happen. You get a short field team kicks a field goal against you, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's extremely difficult. I know I've been a part of some shutouts, but it's just so difficult, especially in today's NFL.
Yes.
To hold a team without a touchdown.
They came close, actually against the Giants in the season finale. It was a few years ago when Ron Rivera was the head coach, and they were down to like their third quarterback. And I'll never forget this, because in the first half, the Giants were so not confident about their passing game that when they got the ball at their own 5-yard line, they kneeled down to not have a turnover.
Really?
Yeah. It was the first half, and they kneeled down, and Washington got it to the fourth quarter, and they had a shutout, and the Giants scored late that ended it. But the whole time I'm sitting there going, we're going to end this streak. We're going to end this streak. I can't remember who the quarterback was. But they were down to like a third string quarterback. And I'm like, this could end today. And it didn't. So I'm just putting it in the universe. We haven't had this since 1991. And the defense just did something yesterday that hadn't happened since 1991.
Yeah. And again, even holding a team, like you said, to without a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's no small feat right there. It's just, especially in today's NFL where a lot more passes, these receivers are coming into the league. They're highly skilled. The quarterback players at an all-time high, and the rules are set up to benefit the offense.
They are. All right, let's talk about the offense. So let's get Logan Paulsen in here. It's time for Paulsen from the Pine as he joins us, if he hears us, to join us in the room on what was, I would describe, kind of a mixed day on offense. I think that's kind of how I would describe what it was. I thought the defense really stole the show. I'm not surprised that happened.
Yeah.
But for you, as we welcome in Logan,
hey guys,
what did you think just generally of the offense and how they performed?
I thought the rushing attack was phenomenal, as evident by rushing for over 220 yards.
Is that the most since 1991?
No, I don't think so.
I'm just saying, you guys, you love those historic statistics.
I feel like we rushed for more than that last year.
No, I'm kidding. It was a joke.
He's making fun of me for bringing up stats.
I know what he was doing.
He is?
Yeah. The analytical
You
guy.
can. He can't.
I can do what I want to do.
He loves data. But I thought the offense, passing game, there were a couple drops that really, you have those drops, and Jaden probably has, if not a 300-yard day or close to a 300-yard day. But the running game was phenomenal. There's some things, obviously, you need to clean up here or there, maybe some protection, stuff like that. But all in all, overall, I thought it was a good first start for the offense. Yeah,
I think with the offense, you kind of look at unforced errors as the thing that comes to mind, like the drop passes, the penalties, getting off schedule. And the thing when we're doing the games, I'm always super impressed with their ability to overcome negative situations. Like, how many times have we seen them this year and obviously last year where it's 2nd and 20 and somehow they get to 3rd and 10, then they get first down off a 3rd and 10. Like, they find ways to overcome that, but it's just not a sustainable thing because you're just putting yourselves in high leverage situations. So I think, kind of to Fletcher's point, like, there's a lot of really cool things that they did. I love some of the backfield action with Debo, his utilization. Like, really, Debo's utilization was awesome. Like, when he came here, I wasn't sure if Cliff would be able to maximize him, because it's such a unique thing to do. People have a hard time with it, but if today is any indication of what the season is going to be, it's going to add such a nice dynamic to the offense. And then obviously, like, the penalties, the incompletions are things that really kind of sink in your craw as an offensive player.
The thing that really stood out that we talked about a million times leading up to the game was the Giants front. Dexter Lawrence, who we said after the game, I don't remember calling his name. I think he had a few tackles, but there was no big play by him. They neutralized him yesterday.
It's crazy watching the film back. I just did that last night. Like, he is so good. He is such a good player. He's so physically dominant. You might not feel him like in the tackle or the sack statistic, but he is just like a problem, like instinctive.
You got to keep 4 hands on him.
Uses his hands well, like plays up. Like they ran a trap where Allegretti's blocking back. He's the backside 3 technique. You're like, that's a great angle. This should be an easy play. Reads it perfectly, plays over the top. Allegretti's kind of hanging on to him as he makes and again, that's a 3-yard gain, 4-yard gain, but like that play, and Fletch knows, like that's like a crazy play for a 3 technique to make. But I think the thing is, like you said, you don't feel him when you play him. Like even Abdul Carter, I went back and watched him. He had some awesome rushes where he's beating the guard, he's rushing from an off-ball linebacker spot. But again, like Jaden's scrambling ability, getting the ball out, the runs away on some of those, and you're just like, even though those guys are playing well in isolation, like if you were to make a cut up, you'd be like, dang, like they don't have the gravity of it because I think we've got good playmakers.
Yeah, I think like we talked a lot about their front because one side's Brian Burns, the other's Kayvon Thibodeau. Carter, this was his debut. He was extremely impactful on special teams yesterday as well. And you go, who do you run away from? Where do you go? There's kind of nowhere to hide. And yet somehow they had a tremendous amount of success on the ground against them.
Well, to that point, I mean, even like just larger picture, like Laramie Tunsil is amazing at football. Like whoever was rushing on his side, man, like his ability to adjust and his feel and pass protection, hands inside in the run game, sink, kind of unload from the hips. Like there was a couple times where they're running an ET. And so he's the ends penetrating and he washes it down. Coleman gets a little bit heavy on it and then the guy loops around and he's kind of blocking 2 people. And I'm just like, that's what that addition gives you, right? So you talk about negating their best players on the edge. And to me, it's Laramie Tunsil. Like that's a huge element. And like Josh Connerly, I think people are going to kind of point to the 2 sacks. Is that what it 2 sacks? Yeah, 2 sacks. But I think overall, man, you see a really consistent football player with a tremendously high ceiling, like in the run game specifically.
Oh yeah. And he was dealing with 2 guys that have
are good players. Yeah.
2 guys that are really good players. They worked the edge, worked his edge. Yeah. So this is stuff that he'll look at the film. Hey, this is what NFL premier pass rushers look like.
And I think the other thing too is Jaden, I didn't notice this last year, but he sets a little bit deeper than the other 2 guys like Sam Hartman and Josh Johnson. He's like a yard deeper. And so for the tackles, that's a weird thing to get used to. And when
he hasn't played with them. He didn't throw a ball in the preseason.
And so like I talked to Allegretti and he was like, yeah, one of the things I got to talk to Josh about is just how different it is playing with a guy like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Because he gets a little bit deeper. He's got more escapability to his game. So it was interesting to watch him kind of in real time try to figure out that angle. Because there's times where he's getting a good punch on Burns and you're like, oh, and you could see he's like, I'm okay. And then he's like, oh no, like he's a little bit deeper than I thought. Yeah. So again, like one of the things you talked about earlier is just like the lack of continuity with the offense in terms of preseason play. I think it shows up with some stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like overarching, coming into this, I hoped the defense would have a performance like that you'd get to see something like this. But with the offense, all the offensive linemen that were kind of up and down, they didn't play in the preseason. You know what Terry's situation was. Noah Brown barely practiced throughout the summer. They never had their starting unit on the field at really any point in time, maybe over the last week when we weren't watching practice anymore, but not throughout the course of camp. The fact that it was kind of up and down and maybe not where I think any of us hope it's going to be as the season progresses, that's not a surprise to me, honestly, off the start of the season.
But you know what's crazy, though, is when it was good, like that drive on the Zach Ertz touchdown, like I don't know if you could call and execute a better drive in the NFL.
The throws by Jaden on that particular drive show you what he is. The throw to Chris Moore, the throw to Ertz, go watch that. That is a dart in between 2 defenders.
Right. Bobby Okereke, is that his name? Is pushing through to that. And you could tell he's surprised by the release.
He's a plug hole player who's just reading the quarterback and he's trying to rob and try to get in lane to make an interception. I thought the play calling, you touched on this a little bit about the uses of Debo. So the run that he scored on, they used that motion probably 4 or 5 times in the game. And on several of those plays, it was an inside reverse handoff to run the running back.
To a counter,
on a counter. Same action, Same kind of, you think it's about to be that same handoff to the running back, and no, he hands it off to Debo, and the blocking that he got out front, led by Laramie, Tonso,
Biotish was out there.
Got some
Luke
other good.
McCaffrey had a devastating block on the end. Talk about negating penetrating edge players.
Exactly. So that play, we're going to set you up for it. We're going to run this play multiple times, and for a defense, you see this motion, see it happen 3 or 4 times. You're like, oh, run. They're about to hand this off to the running back. And you get, hey, alert, the ball's going here. Next you know, oh no. You take that one false step and they get angles on you from a blocking standpoint.
Yeah.
And it's Debo to the house.
There's nothing more amazing to watch than when you see a play start and you go, that could be a touchdown.
Yeah.
Immediately. The second he got the handoff, and you saw the 2 pullers, I just stepped back and I went, he's going to score. Like, you could just see it. Like the way it was just designed, set up, the people out front. I knew he was going to score.
I could feel it in your call.
I knew he was going to score.
I could feel it in your call, the way you were raising your octaves or whatever.
Earlier than usual.
Yeah.
I saw it coming. I'm like, he's either going to score or someone's going to get knocked out at the 1. That's what's going to happen. Well, that's it.
It was crazy. I was on the hash, where they ran it. So right behind and you see the pullers come out in front. I'm like, well, they're still going to have a free hitter. I think it was the outside linebacker, the safety. But to your point, I was like, he's going to score because he's going to break that tackle.
Yes.
And then that dude runs so incredibly hard. Violently. And the way he returns kicks, it's like there's no fear in his body about anything. No, it's crazy to watch the power and the explosiveness, and he's going to be a problem, man. Even on it was on the play that they scored with Zach Ertz, they're running what I would call a jet sweep with a Wanda action across, and Jaden keeps it, and then he's got 2 blockers out in front, Zach Ertz and Debo.
Yeah,
I'm just the flexibility that stuff gives you, because you're oh, that's just eye candy window dressing. We're going to ignore it. The linebackers push over with the Wanda run, and then it's oh no, we got to get back over here. It's just. It just every time they're running the ball, the eye discipline needs to be at an all-time high.
Here's something, and I think you probably did this too, because you tell me you listen to a lot of the stuff that the opponents podcasts or stuff that they're going on, stuff like we're talking now for the opponents. So leading up into the game, you go listen to, hey, what are their guys who see them on a daily basis talking about?
What's up, Green Bay?
So you hear, I was hearing them talk about our offense, and it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of window dressing, and this. All you got to do is just kind of protect the perimeter, and it's not that hard stuff. It's not that complicated. I'm listening to these guys talk about this, and I'm just like, you
never done it, man.
No, they played. This was guys who played too.
Who was it? I'm
not going to throw it.
Okay, never mind. But you got saved by Fletcher.
Listen, but I'm saying to myself, you have no clue what it's like to be on that field, and all that stuff is happening in front of you. You're going to hesitate for a second, try to figure out who has the ball, and that's all you need. That's all the offense is looking for. Now they got angles for you. You got a guy with speed. If Jaden decides to keep it, it sounds good in air conditioning is what we call it. But when you get between those white lines and you have to deal with that, it mesmerizes people.
And I will say, I think the Giants linebackers actually did a pretty good job with their eye discipline, but I think they had 24 runs in the game. And let's say there's window dressing on 14 or 15 of them. It just takes one. And the one was a touchdown. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing. It's you can be good 4 yards here, 5 yards here, 3 yards here, but then you get a 19-yard touchdown right in the red zone.
I will mention, Micah McFadden got hurt early in the game. He's a very good player for them, so that was a big loss.
You got a Bill, man. We ain't talked about Bill yet.
I know we haven't talked about Bill, man. Dude, I think Bill is. I was really impressed. It was all the stuff you saw in the preseason, though, right? You saw the explosiveness, you saw the burst, you saw kind of the home run ability. I don't know if he's he's not a 4.4 guy. He's a low 4.5 guy, high 4.4 guy, but he's got the acceleration is the thing that catches me, and the vision. There's times where it's looking really murky, think about this, when you're a running back and you see a crease in the NFL, it's about this big. Yeah. There are times where it's overlapped, blockers are overlapped, and his ability to kind of snake through, run behind his pads and get positive gains on muddy runs is really impressive.
He makes the first person miss. Yeah. Consistently. Yeah. We saw that early in the preseason, in the time that he was playing, even up in New England, the first person misses with him. And that's been pretty consistent. And this is one of those players that, like, you know it when you see it. He's got the look and the feel. It's just experience now. How many times is he going to get the reps before he becomes, I think, a regular of the offense?
And he's so the only concern I have with him really is just like workload. Like,
yes.
Do you think he can carry? How many times do you think he can carry the ball? Like in the course of a season? Like, is he going to always be like a 12 to 16 touch guy, or could he be?
Yeah, I think right now in our offense, that's probably going to be his max anyway. I think 10 carries. He had 10 yesterday. Maybe 12 is a max max number because you're going to have Jaden who's going to get his carries. You're going to have Debo runs. You're going to have Eckler runs. You'll have whoever, whether it's Chris Rodriguez or Nichols up. You know, you're going to divide those 30 runs up, let's say. Yesterday you said it was 24 runs that we had as a team?
Yeah, 24.
So you're going to divide that up so much that I think from a workload standpoint, you don't really have to worry about that right now with him. What I did find interesting was on the series that he had that 42-yard run, they're backed up, and really we're in 4-minute offense, and he's the running back they put into the game.
Yeah, I mean, he's very talented. He's a very talented runner, and I think to me it's just he's going to maximize money runs. He's going to do everything you want to do. He's a little bit more skilled than like McNichols or Rodriguez, you know, kind of with some of that short area quickness stuff. You know, I mean, the only question I have about him is like, can you do it for the whole season?
Yeah.
Like, because he
also, you know, he didn't play very much last year.
Played one game, right?
He played one game. So that I thought was interesting to walk into the NFL having not even really been through a season. I guess there's good and bad with that. Yeah.
Fresh legs, man.
Fresh legs.
Like you said about fresh legs. But I think running back is the easiest for a rookie to excel at.
It's got to be one of them. Like it's like the end running back, you know, like those lower like.
Yeah, we'll see a good one in 2 weeks with Ashton Genty.
The thing that also impressed me, there was I think a 5 or 6 yard run he had early in the game. And he showed great patience. A lot of young backs don't have patience. They want to just hit a hole 100 miles an hour, but sometimes you need to let the blocks develop. Play a little game with the linebackers. You know, make them think you're going to go to the C gap, get them to bounce out there, and bounce back in, and you're running through the B gap for 4 or 5 yards, creating your own blocker, being your own blocker sometimes. But there was a run he had yesterday where just the patience he had, and he was able to get, I think, about 6 yards.
Yeah, well, you had that one where I don't remember. I think it was Burns, who was kind of waiting for him. And he saw it stopped, came back, and got positive yardage.
Yeah.
These are these moments where it's like, this is not a rookie.
Shoot,
you know?
Even the touchdown run, like on GT, right? You're getting a down block by the tight end. There should be a kick out there. The creases between the tight end's butt and the tackles, or the guard's butt kicking out, and the tackles leading up. There's a little bit of penetration on Bates' block. He did a great job. It was a run through. Did a great job on it. Gets a little bit condensed. And his ability to kind of, is a subtle dip, right? Like kind of just square the shoulders up, pull everybody in. The defensive end tucks his head inside, and then he's just able to bounce it. And that doesn't happen if you run straight to the sideline, right? He's got to kind of give you that little weave in there and then bounce out for the touchdown. And so those are the kind of dark arts of running back where it's not about you, it's about you setting up your offensive line. I went to college with Maurice Jones-Drew, and Eric Bieniemy was the running back coach. Yeah. And so he used to make Maurice come in and apologize to us as the tight ends if he didn't set us up on the block. And I kind of look at Maurice and be like, I think I just messed that up. I think that's just my fault. You know, he have to come apologize because he didn't set us up just right. But I think that's what it takes to be a good running back in the NFL.
10 carries, 82 yards, a touchdown.
It's not a bad day at the office.
No,
what was most yards by a rookie, 7th round draft pick since.
First player in NFL history picked 200th or lower with 75 plus rush yards and a touchdown in his debut.
It's very specific, but that's not even. There's not even a date on that one though. It's like
first player NFL history.
Yeah,
first player ever
since 2025.
So that's right. So he had an incredible debut. Now a lot of it obviously came on one big run at the end of the game, but it sealed the game.
Hey,
right?
Yeah, still counts, baby.
Let me ask you this, because everybody was asking about the run game. What was it going to be coming into it? What did you expect yesterday?
Actually, this is pretty, in terms of deployment, like kind of general philosophy, this is kind of what I expected. I expected a little bit more tight zone from the gun. So to see all kind of the heavier 12 personnel, counters, inside pulling stuff, I was a little bit surprised by that. Just because I wasn't expecting, I knew they were going to do that. I wasn't expecting that kind of volume because I thought, oh, if you look at the week 1 or week 2 matchup from last year, they really spread them out. They ran some stuff here, a little zone read, but it was bigger personnels, more kind of nuanced blocking surface structures with the pullers. So that was the only surprise. But in terms of run volume kind of and Cliff's approach of kind of being a quote unquote run first team, I think that was kind of what I was expecting.
I was expecting a lot of what we call off tackle plays. Because we mentioned Dexter Lawrence, you're not going to make hay consistently running the ball inside against the tackles. They were really good run stoppers between the tackles. But I thought because with our athleticism across the board with the offensive line, a lot of pulling, a lot of getting outside.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, a lot of pulling, a lot of getting outside, more outside zone type of runs, using the bubble screens kind of as an extension of the run game. I don't even think we threw any bubble screens.
We threw a couple of Debo, but those were more like traditional screens.
Yeah. But as far as this is kind of how I saw them more looking to get outside, running off the tackles, really at those defensive ends, outside linebackers.
I thought the last couple of weeks for the fantasy football world was very interesting. Everybody, after the trade of Brian Robinson, decided in that world that Bill was going to be a very high pick. So they made him one. And then when the depth chart came out, they all freaked out. And in most cases, probably didn't start him.
Right.
And then learned their lesson about that.
I need to find do some waiver wire pickups, man.
This is a message to fantasy football managers. Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury don't care about your team at all.
Trying to win some ball games.
Yeah, they're trying to win some ball games.
Tua Tagovailoa didn't care about my fantasy team because
that's a bad deal.
I had him as my QB yesterday.
One thing I do want to address that I think we should bring up because this was not all perfect. We're throwing a lot of roses here. 12 penalties yesterday.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about that? Because that is a carryover from the preseason. And I know it wasn't just the starters playing, but like that was something Dan Quinn was mad about after the New England preseason game, a lot of penalties.
Well, that was really the one, like the major disappointment from this game where you say, man, the penalties, and some of them were just so costly. All penalties hurt, but some of them are just so costly. It's a couple times I think we were off the field defensively. Yeah, we were off the field.
Bobby Wagner,
Dietrich Wise.
Legal hands to the face.
Legal hands to the face.
Which is an automatic first down.
That found out. So thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for pointing out my big mistake.
No, dude, I was just cracking up on the sideline because you were
Bobby's penalty negates the Quan interception.
Oh yeah,
and they were the right calls. There wasn't a situation where you looked at these penalties like, oh, this is kind of questionable.
Also
call.
Intentional grounding too in the red zone for the field goal.
Yep. All right. It is time for our first edition of Big Fletcher's Commanders Championship belts.
Hey man, we do big things here.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one for week 1.
Commanders Championship belt, week 1, and we got a new belt. I've yet to see the new belt. This is the unveiling.
What if it's made of like macaroni or something?
We got a bigger budget this year. So I'm going to unveil the new Commanders Championship belt. Oh, wow. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Dude, look at that thing.
Look at this thing right here.
Wow. Jason, where'd you get that?
Wow.
Where did you get that?
You did not get this off of Amazon or,
It's got the NFL logo on it too.
NFC East logo. We got our crest.
Dude, that's cool.
We got our logo. Man. Woo! Baby, let's go. So,
all right.
You want me to tell you the contenders?
You want me to hold it? I can hold it right here.
Who are the contenders?
Contenders are, I'm going to go with Debo Samuel as the one of the contenders.
Okay.
Nearly 100 yards of total offense. Most highly targeted receiver, which I think was not that much of a surprise considering he was there all throughout camp. Go ahead.
What do you got? 7 receptions.
7 for 77.
77. Had the one rush for 19 yards. Had an impact in the return game as a kick returner. And also his presence and you have to, hey, where's Waldo type of thing. When you see him the emotion and the attention that he garners by once he moves, everybody antennas go up. Hey, what's going on?
Was he the most impactful offensive player, you think?
According to me, in my my
pretty
award,
close, though. I mean, like
yes, he was.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so he's one of the contenders. I feel like with the way the defense played, there's going to be a defensive player in the mix, and there were several guys I could have chosen to put up for the championship belt as the contenders for the championship belt. Thought Dietrich Wise was outstanding. Kinlaw was outstanding. Payne was outstanding. I thought Will Harris was outstanding.
Yeah.
Like people really not going to – you go watch the film and Will Harris was outstanding. My choice as a contender is going to be Deron Payne.
Ooh, I like that one.
Payne was balling. House of Payne, Big Daddy Payne. I'm bringing the pain. Whatever you want to call it. What do you have? 4 tackles, 5 tackles?
4 tackles, a sack, tackle for a loss, 2 pass defense. Remember he had the reach out with the left hand, knocked one down, and a quarterback hit.
Played great in the run game, taking on double teams. So I feel like I got some great contenders. But I only can give this to one guy.
So how does this work? We can't
split the belt.
You do it every week, or they?
That's right.
And wins.
And then
get used to it.
Only wins.
Oh, wins. Right.
And then do they get the belt at the end of the year?
No, that's his.
This is my belt. Oh, that's your belt. Okay, that's my bad.
It's symbolic.
That's my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna give a certificate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, piece of paper. Congratulations.
This week's Big Fletcher's Commanders Heavyweight Championship belt goes to, drum roll, please.
There's a right and wrong answer here. I'm going to complain if you pick the wrong one. Go ahead.
I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel.
No!
I'm surprised, dude. I'm surprised.
No! The defense deserves everything today.
You know what? I'm going to take these guys into consideration, and I'm changing the vote. I'm giving it to the Rod Pass.
Yeah!
That's right.
I did a Steve Harvey. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. I read the wrong contestant.
It's not the Philippines.
He's the week 1 Commanders Heavyweight Championship belt.
Yeah, he played really, really well, man. That's maybe the best game I've seen him play since covering the team.
We had him in the locker room afterwards. I told him, I said, that was like a vintage from a few years ago game from him.
When he
was rolling. That's what I'm saying. It's been a couple years.
Double digit sacks.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He was just all over the place in the run game, coming out the stack. Like he just.
All right, man. The Rob Payne.
But he doesn't get that.
People could chime in. Hey, if you felt like somebody else that we didn't have as the belt winner, put the comments in there. Yeah. Also, let me know, do you prefer Big Daddy Payne or the House of Payne? And for you younger people, unless you were born
go check out
in the 70s and then 80s rap, Big Daddy Kane, Kane, Google him. Boy, he was smooth.
Very smooth. I just listened to some before the show started. But so we keep the belt.
So smooth.
You take this home. Is that what happens?
No. We have a special place for this.
Oh, okay.
I do like, if we're going to do 80s rap nicknames, that's a road I'd like to go down. So because
are you a big 80s rap guy?
Yeah. So
seriously?
I'm 52. Yes.
Yeah. Bram,
How old are you in the 80s? Like you're like in high school or?
Do the math. I'm 52. How old was I in the 80s?
I've had a lot of hits, Bram. It's going to be tough for me.
So this is high school. Yeah, these are like my grade school years where it's like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, or in this case, since we have Debo, whose nickname comes from Friday, which is an old school movie.
Okay, I know
like Jaden Daniels and Debo being Kid and Play. So if that's right,
I just hope Debo doesn't find out that I read the wrong name. I don't want him coming to me like, man, hey, give me where my bike at, where my belt at, where my belt at, Debo, leave me alone, man. If you want the belt, you can have it.
You guys can share it. We don't care. Whatever you like. All right, before we go, real quick, short week. You want to give a quick little, what do you think? Green Bay 1-0, just dominated Detroit yesterday.
I don't know if they dominated Detroit. I mean,
just say they did. They're listening to us as London mentioned.
Detroit threw a red zone interception. I don't know. Like it was definitely a tight game, divisional game. Like They only had 48 offensive plays, Green Bay. So obviously
really?
they weren't super.
I was we were watching Bram and I. We were watching the game together. Logan, you don't want to come have a beverage with us.
You
after
never
the
invite
game.
me to do anything.
We do.
That's why I'm sitting on the bench.
We do. So, you're either at the gym, eating protein, watching tape of high school kids playing tight end.
I have done that.
Training somebody.
Yeah.
But I look like Josh Jacobs had a really good game running the football, and I saw their defense had 4 sacks. Maybe 9 hits on the quarterback. So
yeah, a little bit of that.
Parsons had a little had some impact in the game.
Some cool pressure packages from Green Bay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Anytime it's a tough week with the diversity that they play on defense, it's always hard offensively.
I'll say this: going on the road with a team as good as Green Bay is, our penalties going to have to. Yeah, they're going to have to be at a minimal just to a team like that in that environment. You can't have that amount of penalties, and they understand that. DQ is going to address that. Our players understand that. You got to really put yourself in great positions, and you mentioned, Logan, being able to overcome all those 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20s, and it's just you don't want to live in that world consistently. It's just hard to do.
Yep. All right. See you from Lambeau Thursday night, and see you next week on the Booth Review. Booth Review was filmed at the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.